So, tell me about your religious affiliations growing up.
Well, my mother was a very strong Anglican, so she brought me up to be an Anglican. My father had drifted away from the church. He saw the faults with it, but he was quite happy for me to be brought up Anglican with my mother. And so I was Anglican until I was about, my 40s.
So, did you go to church on Sundays with your mother or your brothers?
Yes, with my mother.
Was there a church near the farm you were growing up on?
We used to go to church in the school, the local school. The vicar used to come from Dargaville, and once a month, I think it was, we had church in the school.
And then when you mentioned you went boarding in Dargaville in your latter years in your high school, your mother wouldn't have been around because you would have been boarding. Did you go to church then?
Yes, I did. Yes, to the Dargaville church.
And then you, through studying to be a primary school teacher in Auckland, did you attend church then?
Yes, used to go to the Anglican church.
And what about Basil?
Well, Basil was brought up a Catholic, but he had already lost his faith by the time we met. If he'd been a strong Catholic, I don't think I would have married him. But he'd more or less lost his faith. Because during the war, he saw the way the priests acted in Italy. He didn't like the way they ground money out of the poor people. And so he'd lost his faith. So I didn't mind marrying him. But when we had children, he felt he ought to try and get the children to gain the faith that he'd lost. And he used to take you to church regularly, didn't he? Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, growing up, the four boys would get dressed up in their Sunday best and go off to the Catholic church in Whangarei. I remember as a boy, it was basically the only time I wore shoes up until I was 10, because at school I didn't wear shoes, and running around the house and playing outside I didn't. Yes, so he did. He took your sons to Catholic church every Sunday, and what did you do on those days?
Well, occasionally I'd go with him, but other times I'd go to the Anglican